Hey everybody! In today's tutorial, I'm going to do something I call sticky atmospheric watercolor. I love the look of atmospheric watercolor, the way the edges of images sort of fade out into the paper. And I came up with a really neat technique for how to get that look. Today I'll be using the technique with the Stitched Leaves mini kit by Gina Designs, which is stunning. You can use it for fall and all year. Has these beautiful leaf images that have little stitching marks on them. And of course it comes with these stunning dies. The word dies are just spectacular, as you will see. So to start the technique, I'm using my favorite Fabriano cold press watercolor paper. I use the 5x7 pads and I just cut each sheet in half for my card fronts. And I'm inking the solid leaf images up in Versamark. And I really squealed when I thought of this technique. You have to push pretty hard on those leaves. You'll see me actually kind of moving my table a little bit because I'm doing stamp CPR. But when you do this, you'll be able to see the Versamark making contact with the paper through that clear stamp. And so you'll know you're getting good Versamark coverage because that's kind of hard to do on watercolor paper. So once I have the images in Versamark, I'm going to take the Paper Artsy Infusions watercolor powder and sprinkle it over the Versamarked images. So if you think about the way you normally use embossing powder, I thought, you know what? I can use powdered watercolor the same way. And what I was hoping would happen was I would get the watercolor in the shape of the stamp that I was using because the powder would adhere to that Versamark. And it worked so beautifully that I made like 10 cards after I did this. But what you want to do is shake off the excess powder and then make sure you have enough. And I didn't have enough over here. There is a balance. I did make a few where I had too much powder on there, and those just kind of turned into a mess. You just basically want to barely be able to see the outline of the image like you can here. And you can pat it down a little bit with your finger or spread it out. I'm using Rusty Car, Golden Sands, Slime, and Terracotta here. And these are beautiful colors together. So just thump the extra off. And if you need to just get a little bit off with your finger, a little extra, you can. And now here's the magic. Take your mister and lightly mist and watch the images appear. And the more you mist, the more you'll get the atmospheric effect at the edges of the images where the color wanders onto the card and gives you sort of a grunge 90s look. The more, and you can add more water and you get some fun effects that way as well. I wanted it to sort of keep its shape because I will be stamping the layering images on top of these. But it's a really beautiful technique just for doing what I'm doing here, which is making a beautiful sort of abstract image from a crisp, solid stamp image. So the top layer of these stamps are these delicate stitched images that I will just place on top of the leaves, and I will put those in my MISTI. But you can see how the image, there's a little bleed out underneath it that's going to look so cool in contrast with that really precise line of those top images. Now, as I watched this video, I was thinking, why did you take so much time to line these up when the edges are kind of fuzzy anyway? But old habits die hard, so I just tried to get them as perfect as I could, but you really don't need to worry about that. That's muscle memory happening to me there. And that second one shifted a little bit, which is completely fine. Now, I like to just rub my finger over it a little bit. You will find with Infusions, they have that walnut stain in them. And sometimes you can have a little crystal left on the paper. And I just wanted that to kind of be out of the way when I was stamping, but you don't have to do that. And I'm using VersaFine just because I need kind of a thicker bodied ink to get down into the texture of the watercolor paper. And I'm doing a lot of CPR here. CPR stamping is when you smash on the lid of your MISTI like you are saving someone's life. It's completely unnecessary most of the time, so I don't encourage it, but I was trying to really smush down into my paper here. My MISTI is used to getting revived all the time. So to stamp the last leaf, I'm going to need to move the cardstock up to the top corner of my mini MISTI, because that leaf is actually hanging off the edge. You won't be able to see the stem of that one, and the paper's warped just a teeny weeny bit at the bottom. But once you have your stamp stuck on the lid, it doesn't matter anymore. And I'll probably have to overstamp this one a couple of times as well, just to get it nice and crisp. And then I'll be able to show you how you can also do this in a really cool, springy color scheme and get a full year's worth of cards out of your, what you would consider to be a fall image in the set. So take a look at that. You can see some colors separating. That beautiful pink and the green and the golds are just beautiful. It looks like upstate New York to me. I added the dyes. Here you can see the lavender and blue combination that I did. And the list of colors is below this video, as well as on my blog. Thanks so much for watching.